Okay, so we're going to do seated row and standing row here, you guys. The progression is the standing row. The beginning position is the seated row. So what we're going to do here is Patty's going to begin and pull her arms straight back so that elbows are coming back past her body and then releasing. You're going to sit up nice and tall here with nice posture. Keep going. Keep rowing, please. And when you pull back, you want those shoulder blades to pinch. Keep going for a total of 10. You want the shoulder blades to pinch. You want the shoulders to be down as you're pulling back. You really want to imagine that there's a string pulling from your chest to squeeze your shoulder blades together. Here we're going to do 2 sets of 12. So Patty, after you finish your 12, go ahead and take a little break. And now if we move over to Carol, Carol's going to stand in an athletic position with her hips back. So just push your hips back, butt out a little bit. And now she's going to go ahead and row. Same movement here, pinching the shoulder blades together. But here we've got a little bit more work going on because Carol's standing. She's using her core, and her core is engaged a little bit more than the seated position. So Patty, you can go ahead and go ahead on your second set here. Good. So you guys can, you're going to do 2 sets of 12. You can take a 30-second to 1-minute break in between each set, or you can also do another exercise in between. Good job, you guys. So notice Patty's sitting up nice and tall with great posture. We don't want you slumped in the chair. We want everything nice and tall with a nice neutral spine and shoulders back, always working on that posture. How many is that, Carol? 7. Okay, and Carol will just finish up her 12 here. So the nice thing about this, you guys, is that you can definitely anchor these bands to a door. Even if you're in the kitchen, even if you're cooking supper, you can get a quick set in, stir the pot, go back, do your second set. Okay, so right now we're going to move on to chest press with the elastic band. Patty again is going to be doing the beginner. Carol's going to be doing the progression here. Okay, so Patty, I'll get you started. You want to make sure that your arms are at 90 degrees and you're in a bit of a staggered stance. Again, with that core nice and tight, like you're bearing down. And she's going to go ahead and press forward for 12. Now Patty has the band underneath her shoulders and Carol has it above. So that's just preference. Whatever you feel is better or more comfortable for you, that's fine. So Carol's going to go ahead and do the progression here. Her arms again are going to be at 90 degrees and extended. They're both going to start extended.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, good, perfect. And then she's going to alternate. So for Carol, then that would be 1. So she ends up doing 12 per arm, okay, as opposed to doing it bilaterally and doing it together. So again, Patty, when you're ready for your second set, just feel free to go ahead.
Should I re-stagger my feet, do it the opposite way?
You can. It's not a big deal. It's just good for balance and proprioception if you do change it around a little bit. So that's up to you too. Sometimes if somebody has an injury or a different pathology, they'll have 1 foot forward only. That's totally fine. So with what Carol's doing here, again, it's going to be a little bit more advanced just because she's working a little bit more on the balance, therefore working the core a little bit more than perhaps Patty is here right now. Good? Did you do 2 sets?
That was just 1 set.
That was 1 set? Okay. Good. And how many is that, Patty?
That is 12.
Perfect. Okay, so Carol's going to go ahead with her second set. So again, 30 seconds to 1 minute break in between.
Yeah, you can feel it.
Feeling that throughout your chest, your pecs.
Yep.
Good. Excellent job. What are we at?
Well, 12, but that's 6.
Good. Atta girl. Good. So you can definitely feel this one too. It's going to be a little bit more of a challenge. You'll feel your heart rate come up a little bit higher than the other one as well. That's actually a good point, Patty, because you want to make sure that when you're doing the exercise that you're exhaling on exertion. So you want to be breathing through the entire exercise, but as you push forward, that's when you're going to exhale. It keeps that blood pressure from rising too much. Good job, ladies. All right, so we're going to move on to shoulder work here. Patty, as the beginner, is going to start with a lateral raise out to the side. She's going to do 12 repetitions again, 2 sets of 12 repetitions. She's going to be nice and strong through the middle. She's going to have one foot anchoring the band, the bottom, and then she's going to pull both arms up to the side. Now what you want to make sure here is that your scapula or your shoulder blades are still pushing down. You don't want your arms coming way up high. Just to shoulder height right now is fine. And Carol's going to go ahead with the progression, and she's going to do an overhead shoulder press. So both ladies are going to do 2 sets of 12 again. This one's just a little bit tougher, but as you can see with what Carol's doing here, it emulates a little bit more of everyday life as you're reaching up to get something off of the shelf, those type of things. Or if you just want to cheer really loud. Good job, you guys. So the other thing, ladies, is what you really want to make sure here too, when you're doing any kind of these exercises, as the ladies are counting on their own here, is that you make sure you're bearing down through the middle. So if you imagine taking a big breath in and exhaling everything out, and then that contraction of your abdominals, that's what you want to keep through all these exercises. So as Patty's raising her arms to the side, she doesn't want the rest of her body doing nothing. She wants it to be engaged also. What are we at, you guys?
6:11.
Good work. Good job, you guys. Right on. So again, with the shoulders here, you want to take that 30 seconds to 1 minute break in between. And like we've been saying, you know, it gives you a chance to maybe switch to laundry, gives you a chance to stir the pot, cut the vegetables, whatever you need to fit this in during your day. All right, good?
Yeah. Good.
Perfect. All right, so we're going to move on to the back of the shoulder and the mid-back here. It's called reverse flies. It's a very good postural exercise. I've got Patty here on the floor. Anytime you do an exercise on the floor, it just helps maintain body position. It tends to be a little bit easier than if you're standing trying to control your whole body. So Patty's going to pull her hands down to the side as she tries to squeeze her blades together and down. So you can anchor up at the foot. Make sure it's at 90 degrees. If you want to, you can keep that other non-working leg straight, or you can bend it. Either way is fine. If you have any back issues, bending it's definitely optimal. So Carol's going to do the progression here. Her hips are back. Standing up nice and tall, again in that athletic position. And now she's going to open her arms. Good. So you can see it's the same exercise or same joint action here that's happening. It's just with the progression, it's a little bit tougher. It gives you something to work towards. So all these exercises that we've been doing, it'd be great to start where Patty's starting, and then after maybe 2 weeks or so, to move up to what Carol's doing. Good job, you guys. So again, here we'll do 2 sets of 12, and by that I mean 12 repetitions 2 times through. Again, taking your 30-second to 1 minute break in between. Good job, girls. That's a tough one, hey? Have a little dance break, dance parties. How many, Patty?
1 more.
All right.
She's done?
She's done.
Oh my God.
Now Carol's on. Good. So remember to keep those hips back. Good. That's a better position there. Good. Nice. This is great for your posture. As we get older, we tend to internally rotate all the driving and sitting and computer and everything else. So here it's important to open up that body, open up that chest, and work the back, keeping it nice and strong for our posture. Good work. Patty's just taking a little snooze right now. Sometimes it's good to be the beginner. Now we're going to move on to external shoulder rotation. Again, a postural exercise and to help strengthen the shoulder, back of our shoulders. So Patty's going to do the beginner move bilaterally. She's going to be opening those hands as she keeps her shoulders pressed against her waist here. So I don't want to see a big movement. You don't want to be pulling away from your body. You actually want to be pivoting at the shoulder and keeping those elbows nice and close. So always you want that core engaged, you want those knees slightly bent, and you want to be tightening out throughout your body. Now Carol's progression is going to be at 90 degrees and at shoulder height. So she's going to make sure she's at 90 degrees. She's going to pivot at the shoulder and now move that hand up. Now in both of these exercises, you want to make sure the wrist is nice and strong. It's not the wrist that's moving up and down. It's just the pivot at the shoulder. Good. And again, everything nice and strong. So get into your triple threat position a little bit more. Good. So you want to be here, you want your abdominals engaged. You don't want to kind of be standing just doing a shoulder, external shoulder rotation. Good. So Carol's is going to take a little bit longer just because she's doing it unilaterally or single armed, and then Patty is going to be doing hers bilaterally. So if you're pressed for time, then obviously the bilateral is going to be a little bit quicker than the other. So the days you have a little bit more time, go ahead and do what Carol's doing. Days you don't, go ahead and keep it at Patty. Good, girls. So Patty's on her second set here. Carol's finishing up the first on the second arm. Nice work. So make sure it's just a rotation at that shoulder. Good. Nice, Carol. Perfect.
I'm done. I'm not.
Why don't you go ahead and do the, oh no, we can't do that, eh? I was going to do the progression, but.
Maybe you can talk about if resistance, like where you step.
Sure, yeah, yeah. Okay, good. So anytime we're using the bands, the shorter you make, oh, how am I going to say this? To increase the intensity, you just have to step a little further up the band. So if Patty can be an example here while Carol's still doing her work, if she grasps between, oh, just go ahead and do your external.
Okay.
So if she's doing the same exercise, if she's got a fair distance between the band here, then it's going to be a little bit easier. As she progresses and becomes a little bit stronger, she'll just narrow that grip a little bit, and then that'll increase the intensity also. So with Carol, the difference for her would be that she would just move the handle a little further away from herself and shorten the working area of the elastic band. Good. The other thing is if you purchase these elastic bands, they're nice to keep in a paper bag with a little bit of baby powder, and then they don't become brittle and crack. So it's a good way to take care of them.